Today on Little Wars TV, we inaugurate our club's expanded war room with an incredible war game. It's the first game we've filmed inside our new Crusader castle, and what better way to celebrate than by fighting one of the most famous battles of the Crusades, the Siege of Acre.
Yes, Keith, but which Siege of Acre?
Fair question, there were several battles fought here. As some of the Levant's most strategic port cities, Acre was heavily fortified and changed hands between Muslim and Christian control throughout the period. Before
today's war game, we'll explain why Acre was so contested. Then we launch into a magnificent tabletop game played in glorious 10mm scale. There's only one thing left to say.
God wills it!
Devil!
God wills it! God wills it!
Acre has been a prosperous Mediterranean port since at least the Bronze Age, controlled at various times by the Israelites, the Phoenicians, the Romans, the Byzantines, and the Arabs.
Crumbling Christian control across the eastern Mediterranean is what eventually led the Byzantines to summon help from Western Europe to reestablish possession over their lost territories. Somewhat to the Byzantines' surprise, Western Europe answered the call in a big way.
Well, we could spend an entire episode talking about the First Crusade by itself. But for the purpose of today's video, let's just skip to the aftermath.
Excellent.
Because while the Crusaders cut a swath of destruction through the Holy Land and captured their ultimate prize, Jerusalem, they did not initially take some of the most vital coastal towns needed for sea access.
About 5,000 Muslim troops held out behind the walls of Acre for 5 years before the city finally capitulated to King Baldwin of Jerusalem in 1104. I think that speaks to the stoutness of the defense, that the siege took so long and was such a slog.
Yeah, and with a population of 25,000, Acre became the second largest city of the Crusader states. It was also the busiest commercial and trade hub in the Levant, serving as the primary shipping lane to Western Europe.
It may have taken the Crusaders 5 years to capture Acre, but it only took them a few months to lose it. Virtually the entire kingdom of Jerusalem was lost overnight as a consequence of one disastrous battle, Hattin.
Is this the part where we finally get to talk about the movie?
Yes, it is.
Yes! Ridley Scott's 2005 epic, Kingdom of Heaven, is the fictionalized retelling of this pivotal moment in history. In the film, Guy de Lusignan is portrayed as a villainous, inept asshole who declares war on Saladin and foolishly marches the Crusader army into the desert.
But not before dismissing the wise counsel of blacksmith Orlando Bloom. The historical accuracy of Kingdom of Heaven is extremely questionable, despite being directed by Ridley Scott, and at times kind of laughable. But to be fair, the film does get some of the key moments correct. Guy de Lusignan did lead a huge Crusader army into the desert to be annihilated at the horns of Hattin, and the story of his refusing a cup of cold water offered by Saladin is recorded in historical sources.
The movie also shows the consequences. With Guy captured and his army destroyed, Saladin retakes Jerusalem from Balian of Ibelin.
You mean Orlando Bloom?
Yes, of course. Naturally, the film also includes a brief scene of a disgraced Guy at the end after he's released by Saladin on a solemn vow to not take up arms against the Muslims again.
And that's where Kingdom of Heaven ends. But the story of Saladin's reconquest continued, because immediately after the fall of Jerusalem, most of the kingdom was defenseless and overrun, including the vital port of Acre.
There's something else this film doesn't show you. Guy immediately broke his promise to Saladin after his release.
Well, he is French nobility.
Guy scrounges up whatever available forces he can still muster from the neighboring Crusader states, and I'll give you one guess what his primary target will be.
Acre.
Acre. Sorry.
Green Acres. 2 years after the disaster at Hattin, Guy musters together 2,000 men to besiege Acre and sets up camp right along in here.
Well, his first move is a hasty assault to try to capture it, but that is beaten back and Guy has to lay siege. To the east, Saladin marches up from Jerusalem with a massive host, well over 30,000 men, to destroy Guy once and for all. He sets up camp on high ground and launches a probing attack on September 15th. The main action happens on October 4th. This will be the Battle of Acre, an even larger battle than the Battle of Hattin.
And by now, reinforcements from Europe have swelled the Crusader army to well over 30,000 men.
In the historical battle, the Crusader army smashes Saladin's center, breaking through to his camp. But here, discipline breaks down, and the Christians start looting. This gives Saladin time to rally.
In the chaos that follows, the Grand Master of the Templars is killed, among several other notables.
Ooh, right in the Templar.
But somehow, against all the odds, the Crusader army manages to rally and reverse the odds. Though Saladin is driven away, Acre will not fall for another year until Richard the Lionheart and Philip of France arrive with even more Christian reinforcements.
But that's a story for another day.
For a very special bonus, head over to the free stuff page of littlewarstv.com. One of our patron supporters lives in Israel, and he filmed a tour of the battlefield as it appears today.
So we believe that we found the base of Saladin. It's on a hill that's unnamed. It's on a spur, actually, that you won't find easily on a map.
This bonus video is available now on our website. You can tour the old city and the ground where both armies camped. But right now, in this video, I bet you're ready to see our tabletop version of the battlefield. We made the terrain for today's war game, but the colorful armies belong to Chris Grau. Chris has appeared on our channel before to provide painting tutorials. His armies look absolutely fantastic.
Why, thank you, Miles. These are 10mm models from Pendraken. I've mounted them on square bases, which I can use with a variety of rule sets. The rules we're using in today's game should be pretty familiar to your viewers. Lion Rampant is one of Osprey's most popular historical game systems.
In a future video, Chris returns to explain how he adapted Lion Rampant from a big skirmish game into a mass battle system, and how you can do the same.
It was surprisingly easy and required very few tweaks.
Well, that should be fun to discuss in a future video. But now we've got a battle to fight.
I think we have our Guy and our Saladin, but we're going to need a few other lords to join us. While Miles and Keith recruit some vassals to help play today's game, I want to tell you about the armies and the objectives. The Crusaders deploy outside the city walls with a camp here. If sacked, the camp is worth victory points. Saladin's army deploys on this high ground east of Acre. He also has a camp that must be protected. The Muslims have a little surprise weapon as well. Inside the city walls, the garrison is permitted to sally out with a single unit of infantry. It's a small force, but if they rush at the opportune moment, that garrison could cause chaos in the Crusader rear. The objective for both sides is simple. Break the enemy army by routing enough units. But not all units are worth the same number of points. The elite, feared Templars, for example, are worth more than a unit of Muslim levy spearmen.
My liege, what is the strategy here for our battle today?
I think we're going to try something ahistorical. We are going to hold back.
The Christian in me doth protest that this is very cowardly of us to hold back, but the wargamer in me thinks this is a damn good idea.
Okay, yes, we'll give that a try.
Our crossbows have better range,
Yep.
so we already outrange them. We've got interior lines, but we could counterpunch at any moment.
We have
At the right time, we have a lot of heavy cavalry. We've got knights that we can push in hard once we've baited them in a little bit and we've weakened them with some of our crossbowmen.
That's the key. I think our crossbowmen are going to have to do some heavy lifting here.
All right.
And I think if we just stay still, not going forward, let them come to us.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I think those Crusaders hit pretty hard. I don't think we want to get anywhere near them.
Yeah.
I think we want to pepper them with arrows and wear them down, and if we pick off a couple units, great. Gus, what do you think?
He says Allahu Akbar and dog.
There you go.
But yeah, I think our plan is just to suck them in as much as possible, pepper them with arrows, and then slam them in the flanks.
And if our swords remain sheathed, that's an okay outcome for me.
Definitely.
Well played, Gus.
The armies are deployed for battle, arrayed as they were historically. You can see both armies organized into 3 divisions. Saladin personally commands the Muslim left, where the camp is located. His sons, Al-Afdal and Al-Zahir, command the center, and his nephew, Taqi al-Din, leads the right. Opposite Saladin is Guy de Lusignan, who is nominally in command of the Crusaders. The center is Conrad of Montferrat, a political rival of Guy and Lord of Tyre, and a cousin of Conrad's, Ludwig III of Thuringia, commands the Christian left wing. The Crusader army includes one bonus leader, Gerard de Ridfort, the Grand Master of the Templars. But, as you heard from the players, both sides are planning to hang back and allow the enemy to come to them. This is most unexpected. I ran this exact game multiple times at Historicon over the summer, and the convention players were super aggressive. But it seems the Little Wars TV guys are a cagier bunch. I have no idea how this is going to play out.
The skirmish is 7+.
Yeah. We'll use a reroll from him.
Oh, I'm going to use a reroll from him.
Yes.
No.
So that's your.
But it was better.
Oh, damn, it was better.
Improved by 1.
So
I've used his reroll. He's done. He can't do any more rerolls.
Remember, he's got 3.
Okay.
He is Saladin.
All right. Skirmish.
You're moving up.
6. Reroll. Because he's got
He
2
is
more.
freaking incompetent.
Oh my god.
Skirmish. Yes!
There it is. There's one.
We're only in turn 1, and the Saracen players are already failing multiple activation rolls. In Lion Rampant, you have to roll for orders, and if a unit fails, it cannot act for the turn. Here's a standard unit of horse archers. Strength points are the number of hits the unit can endure before being routed. These order values are the roll needed on 2d6 for the unit to activate. For this unit, you can see that ordering the horse archers to charge into combat is harder than ordering them to move or shoot. This is a mechanic I really like in the Lion Rampant rules because it allows you to represent the tendencies of different troop types. I did give some of the leaders rerolls based on skill, and Miles, playing as Saladin, gets 3 reroll attempts per turn. It's a leader skill called Inspired, and apparently our Saladin needs all the inspiration he can get to pass some of his activation rolls. By turn 2, due to a combination of poor rolling and static battle plans, the armies have barely moved at all. In direct violation of Saladin's wishes, Karl inches up his horse archers and light cavalry in the center, bringing them into missile range to pepper the Crusaders with arrows.
Alright. Whose troops are these green guys
They are
here?
mine.
Alright, they're looking at some arrows in the face.
You are shooting with skirmish fire?
Yeah.
Hey, let's just pause super quick just so we can see how the shooting works out.
Great. Go ahead.
So yeah, rolling all 12 dice because you're at full strength.
Looking for 6s.
What's your shoot value?
Looks like I got 2 hits.
And what's your armor?
2 hits. The Turcopoles have armor 2.
Okay, so we're gonna mark them down to a 5. I have some green dice right over there for you.
Okay.
I gotcha.
Got it. Armor 5.
And then because they have taken any damage,
Yeah.
they need to make a morale test or,
Okay.
or a courage test.
The courage on a Turcopole is 5+,
And
but it
you
is
take
at -1
-1.
because I took a casualty.
Yep.
So,
But are you within 8 inches of your leader?
I think I'm going to pass this just barely.
You can
no,
measure,
I am not.
measure from any point of his
I
knife.
am not.
Okay, so he doesn't get a +1.
But
you do pass.
I passed just barely.
So you're good.
Harassing fire from the Ayyubid horse archers isn't decisive, but over the course of the opening turns, Karl does manage to break 1 unit of Crusader Turcopoles and cause a second unit to fall back with heavy losses. To his right and left, Ed and Miles are sticking to the original plan and largely refusing to advance at all. On the Crusader side, they are also holding fast, but as I suspected, the harassing fire from Karl is testing the patience of the Crusaders. Already you can see them getting frustrated. How historically accurate.
I have some really bad news. Those Turcopoles flee the field. On a courage test, when you get a 0 or a negative number, and he rolled a 2, -2 because he took 2 damage. On a 0, you just flee the battlefield.
Nice.
Well, you're the king. You're the king.
This is stupid. They came to break a siege.
Well, they're
Break a siege.
They're breaking it by just plinking away at
Well,
the margins.
I'm like stubborn, and I refuse to just like fall into their trap of baiting us.
Yeah.
Because that's what they want, and I'm
Do we just
disinclined.
do we just hope that they fail enough of the skirmish rolls where they're stuck in place and our crossbows just decimate them? I mean, it's still kind of a battle of attrition at that point. But
Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to do it. It's.
My humble suggestion. I am not the king of Jerusalem. Oh wait, you lost Jerusalem. I am not the king of Jerusalem.
Too soon, man.
Too soon? Yeah.
Yes.
My humble suggestion to the former king of Jerusalem would be that if we were going to just kind of start maybe inching our way forward to pressure Ed into at least moving his entire force, he will fail rolls eventually.
Yeah, true. I have too far to go.
You've got way too far to go. And if you go, you're going to just pull yourself away from the center.
Yeah, and I cannot do that.
when we have the weight of our forces on our left flank, center and left flank. and Saladin is going to have to move forward and close ground if he wants to even do any skirmishing.
Yeah, I'm all okay. That sounds good.
And
All right, let's mess with them.
My knights are rearing to go as well for combat. Their swords are ready.
They're ready to be wetted with blood of the enemy.
So these guys.
Skirmish move. Only 6 dice. I'm at half strength. Nothing.
I need a 6 just for
I don't think so.
You're outside of 8.
Crossbowman.
Under pressure from Simon and Greg, Keith relents and agrees to allow at least a modest advance on the left flank. Simon leads the way, marching directly against Ed's wing. The Crusaders are hoping their advance may draw Ed into battle, or at least force Carl and Miles to move up in support. But any such hope is immediately quashed by Ed. He's having none of it and simply rides away from Simon's advance, firing arrows from his horse archers as he taunts the enemy from afar. We've been playing the wargame for about 45 minutes, and virtually nothing has happened. What's a game master supposed to do?
So we've reached the second half of turn 5, and what is happening in the game is actually what very often happened historically with some of these Crusade-era battles, is the Saracens were mass horse archer armies, and they wanted to fill the Crusaders full of arrows until the Crusaders retired. The Crusaders, their strategy was to stay back, to deny being filled full of arrows until they could get some good positioning, but neither side is really offering the other the kind of opportunity to exploit. We're getting to the point where turn-wise I was going to end the game at the end of turn 6, but it looks like the game is going to end kind of inconclusively. Only one unit has really fled the battlefield at all, which is some bad dice rolls. So what's probably going to happen, if nothing conclusive happens soon, is there's 2 particular groups on the table on the Crusader side that don't like sitting around, and that's the militant orders, the Hospitallers and the Templars. And if King Guy doesn't engage the enemy tonight, the militant orders are probably going to want to do some charging in the morning to actually break the Saracens who are counter-sieging the Crusaders.
How's your plan working out, Guy?
It's not. It's not. They're really far away, and they have arrows, and those arrows hurt. Did you get hit by one of those things?
Yeah, we've lost a couple of units at this point. The
Yeah.
problem is you look at the table, if we're being compelled to attack, is that they can just keep running. I mean, Ed's just running away.
Ed has been pulling back the whole time consistently.
I think we all realize, looking at the table, there's only one thing on the table that they cannot run away from, and it's their camp. They have. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's stupid.
This is stupid, but the only thing that they have to defend is the camp.
It's true.
So maybe we use the opportunity of nightfall to mess with them a little.
Okay.
And we totally redeploy our army.
All right.
We put all of the heavy cavalry facing the camp.
Okay.
All of it.
I'm into that. All
And
right.
we just annihilate that shit.
I'm down with that. Let's do it.
We combine all of our heavy cav.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a wild move here.
Yeah.
You know, we're rewriting history.
Sure.
And we just go balls to. We steamroll everything.
Okay. I'm
If
down.
they want us to come out,
Yeah, fine.
let's f***ing come out. You know, let's play.
Let's do this.
You know, the cavalry are not the easiest to activate. That's our one challenge. They're
I
a little bit
know.
more difficult. But if we have all our cavalry there, I think a whole lot of them are going to succeed, and we're going to be able to push
You
through.
throw enough of them.
And I think at this point, there's only one thing left to say.
Let's do this.
God wills it!
Well, I have to admit, as the game master, I didn't see this coming. But hey, I'm forcing the Crusaders to attack, so under the cover of darkness, I'm going to just go with it and allow Keith, Greg, and Simon to undertake the crazy redeployment they want to try. They're massing their cavalry on the Crusader right, across from Saladin's camp for a massive assault. While the Crusader players conduct their secret redeployment, I'm taking the 3 Saracen players into the other room and ask them to sketch their intentions on a piece of paper. The Saracen plan is, not surprisingly, to do nothing. They aren't changing their deployment overnight. When dawn breaks on our second day of battle, there is considerable surprise in Saladin's army. Carl and Ed are both extremely concerned about the danger to the camp, but Miles expresses calm confidence. He has a plan for this.
Well, the first day went as we planned. There wasn't a lot of action. We peppered the Crusaders with arrows. I think we frustrated the players, which was our main objective. So we're going to continue our strategy of using our bows as our most effective weapon. We think the Crusaders are going to come at us. It looks like from their initial deployment, their crossbowmen will fall behind, which is great because those crossbowmen are probably the most effective units they have, and we're kind of scared of them. Hopefully we can lure them ahead and pull them out, and maybe they'll leave their camp unguarded for the garrison to sally out and seal the victory for us by taking their camp. So we'll find out if patience actually rules the day.
On turn 1, the Crusader advance is piecemeal due to their poor activation rolls. Some of the knights advance, others lag behind, and the bulk of the Crusader infantry holds its position as planned. Here's the problem for the Christian players. A standard unit of knights will attack on a roll of 5+, but they only move on a 7+. The knights like to fight, but they aren't quite as eager to move around. Just as Simon feared in the overnight council of war, failing some of these movement rolls results in a disjointed breakdown of cohesion in the Crusader advance. Opposite them, on the Saracen side, horse archers ride into firing range and shower the Christians with arrows, but Miles continues to preach patience.
You want to retreat?
What's up with all this retreat talk from Saladin today? Jerusalem's that way, buddy.
Yeah, I already got it, buddy.
We're coming there next.
Okay.
I'm trying to shoot with these guys.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes, we're firing at that unit right in front of us.
On turn 2, the Christian knights pick up the pace, closing the distance to Saladin's camp. Some of the deadly Crusader crossbows are also within range of the approaching Saracen horse archers, ripping into them with bolts. It's a painful reminder, particularly to Karl's command, that crossbows are nasty business.
Saracens, the Crusaders are really close.
This is the epic point of the movie where all the
Banners are floating. The slow-mo. He's got shot. The banners are flying.
Gentlemen, shoot the shit out.
Okay.
Except the crossbowmen, run away.
I believe it is. You should have 7 guys.
Looking for
yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Let's see, short. 3.
If you have 7 or actually, I think you have 8.
8 hits on them. I guess that's 2
these guys?
casualties. Yeah.
I have 4 hits, which I think is just 1 casualty.
And those are your guys.
Yeah.
Both sides can feel the moment of decision is close. The Crusader knights are almost on top of Saladin and his camp. This wing of the Saracen army is in massive danger, but as you can see, a large gap is opening between the two parts of the Crusader army. Keith is trying to bring up his infantry to close the gap, but he keeps failing activation rolls. Karl pours his Ayyubid cavalry into the breach to threaten the knights from the rear. The knights pay Karl little mind, they're plunging wildly ahead directly at the camp. It's at this moment on turn 3 when Saladin must flee or fight. He chooses to fight.
Saladin versus the...
Gerard de Ridford, the Grand Master of the Templars.
Oh, this is going to be good.
This is an epic moment right here.
I'm in on
Cinematic
4s.
value, so it's on.
He's still hitting on 3s.
He's still hitting on 3s, and you're hitting
4s.
on 4s.
All right.
$100 for a +1 close combat.
Oh my lord.
I'll take that.
That looks pretty good.
These are the ones
What's
that
his
kill me.
armor? 4.
3.
Oh, good.
Okay.
I have 8 hits.
8 hits. So 2 hits on both of you. You both have to make courage tests.
And you're going down.
And we gotta see what happens to Saladin and the Grand Master of the Templars, who historically died here. Roll for the leader.
Do both at the same time.
Neither.
Stab each other.
Both of them stab each other with non-fatal wounds, apparently.
So close.
Oh, that's
So
great.
close.
Bounce the Templar back 5 inches.
Yeah, I have my cart brought up now.
Both of you came within an inch of death.
That's cool. You want to know how I got this scar?
The epic showdown between Saladin and the Grand Master of the Templars ends without a clear winner, but on turn 4, Karl's encircling forces trap the Templar leader, surrounding and killing him. The Christian knights are disjointed and have lost all cohesion at this point, but individually, their units are tough as nails.
The camp is ours! I shouldn't do the devil horns. That's the wrong one. There's Volt! The camp is ours!
In a failed attempt to defend his camp, Saladin's own household unit is routed from the field and flees the battle. This wing of the Saracen army is now battered and leaderless. But the cost of the Crusaders is high, Keith's division has taken heavy losses, and Simon is being hit on two sides. Greg, playing as Conrad of Montferrat, has been left in command of the Crusader camp with the bulk of the infantry. He knows he has to close the gap to keep the knights from being totally cut off, and starts to shift some crossbow units from the center. The maneuver works, and murderous fire from the crossbows routs multiple horse archer units, forcing Caro to pull back or risk his own division being battered. Some semblance of order has been restored to the Crusader battle line, but it's at this moment, when the Crusaders seem to have a tactical victory close at hand, when trumpets sound from inside Acre's city walls. In this scenario, the garrison is allowed to send out a single unit of infantry, which did happen in the historical battle. In our battle, Ed signals the garrison now is the time to strike. With Greg's command spread thin, Ed senses an opportunity. So far, Ed has spent the entire battle remaining distant and out of reach. His troops are fresh and unengaged, but on turn 5, he surges forward in a coordinated attack against the Crusader camp. On the game's final turn, Ed breaks through the Crusader line and sacks their camp. The camps are worth major victory points, and this could be enough to tip the scales back to Saladin's favor. There's only one way to find out. We need to count up the coins in each cup to see who won more victory points.
The camp has been sacked. I don't think either side controls the camp, though. And the city, the garrison could definitely go back into the city.
Yep.
So I don't think King Guy is going to be...
I'll take that from King Guy.
You're not even here.
So the Saracens not only drove the Crusaders from the battlefield, they also definitely got more of our victory coins. Historically, the battle went towards the Crusaders in a minor victory. Here, more of a victory, definitely a victory for the Saracens. What's going to happen to Acre in the long term? I'm not sure at this point.
Richard's coming, boys.
That's why I actually left.
And hell's coming with him.
in like a year.
Yeah.
Yes, Keith.
Okay.
This is probably a bad thing.
Grab by the blade. That's
Somebody's gonna
Because I'm really... I think that's a real helmet.